Wander the streets of Rome and it doesn't take long to find people with their favorite picks for Pope.
Cardinale Zuppi.
Pizza balla, Cardinal Tagle.
Speculation isn't new, it happens every conclave, but the wisdom of the crowds isn't always wise. Remember, Pope Francis, or Cardinal Bergoglio, as he was known back then, wasn't really considered a papal frontrunner in 2013. So is it all set to be unpredictable again?
Every conclave is unpredictable.
In the 12 years since Pope Francis first appeared on that balcony overlooking St. Peter's Square, he made some changes that leave the conclave unfolding now a little bit mysterious.
I think this is a conclave where it's a wide open race. And I think because of that, anyone could walk out on the balcony.
The new pope will be chosen by cardinal electors. Those are cardinals under the age of 80, and I'm going to hit you with another 80. 80% of them were appointed by Pope Francis, which means 8 out of the 10 men locked in the Sistine Chapel have never done this before. Let's look at the numbers. It's crowded, with 133 of them going in there, 18 more than last time. And it's way more international, 71 countries represented versus the 48 that chose Pope Francis. Italian cardinals had a quarter of the say in 2013, but their numbers have gone down, while cardinals representing Asia and Africa have gone up. And sure, Pope Francis picked many who would be in that room, but don't think this means they're necessarily looking for another progressive pope, Francis 2.0.
It's very difficult, even for a pope, to really be able to manage once he's dead what's going to happen after him.
There are more US-oriented, more China-oriented. There are people coming from the north, from the south, from the west, from the east. So there is a huge variety among the cardinals created by Pope Francis.
Just getting all these cardinals here?
It is a logistical nightmare.
Consider this. They don't all speak the same language. Many have never laid eyes on each other and have no idea where the others stand on the big issues facing the church. It's also new. They've unusually asked for name badges.
So they asked indeed to have a badge in order to know each other, and in the badge it is written the name, the country, also if they are the status, if they are electors or not. Yeah, it's like a party.
They will have been wearing those badges in meetings known as general congregations, where they give speeches, size each other up, figure out the profiles of their fellow cardinals. Critical work before going under lock and key.
The Catholic Church in this moment is at a crossroads. There's tremendous momentum from the Francis papacy of opening the church up to the modern world. This was a pope that was a reformer, and he wanted the church to become more inclusive and more welcoming. And the cardinals are having to debate now whether or not they want to continue on that path or perhaps initiate some sort of course correction.
So we don't know who the cardinals will pick as the best man for that job, but that doesn't stop the speculation. Enter the Vatican journalist for a little Italian lesson.
Papabile.
Papabile.
Papabile is the term that we use in Italy to refer to those who are likely candidates to become pope.
And once you start hearing certain names often enough, those of us who cover this institution for a living, we say, aha, this is a person that someone has identified as a potential pope. These are not lists made by the cardinals themselves, they're created by those of us on the outside.
There's no limit on papabile identified each conclave, and names vary, but read enough of the news coverage and some repeat. Since most popes have been Italian, let's start with them.
Pope Francis's number 2 official was Cardinal Pietro Parolin. If we're looking for something to prove how much of a candidate he is, there have been numerous attacks in the media and by some of the cardinals against this person, saying that he's too old and too sick to have this role. When that happens, you know that you gotta pay attention.
Cardinal Pizzaballa, he's the patriarch in Jerusalem. He's lived most of his life in the Middle East, and I think in this moment in time, people see that as attractive. And then, of course, Cardinal Zuppi from Bologna, who's the head of the Italian Bishops' Conference.
Lots of choices beyond Italy.
The French Archbishop of Marseille, Jean-Marc Aveline, the Spaniard, Lopez Romero, and also an American, Robert Francis Prevost, who is a very pragmatic guy, very good in listening.
Then there's a Filipino cardinal, Cardinal Tagle. I'll come back to him in a second. Lots of names to follow. That makes it attractive for betting, but that's against the rules here in Italy when it comes to choosing pope. So people are getting creative. Right now, more than 90,000 people are playing a game called Fanta Papa. Get it? Like fantasy football? The online game lets you draft a team made up of the papabile you think have the best odds. Points are scored each time a pick is mentioned in the media, and bonuses are handed out for correctly guessing things like the new Pope's language and papal name. And if the cardinal you place as your team captain ends up on the balcony, there's no money in it, just bragging rights until the next conclave. Back to Cardinal Tagle. One of the Fanta Papa co-creators chose him as their captain. Is that a sign? He would be the first Asian pope, and why not, after the first Latin American pope? At this gathering at the Pontifical Filipino College in Rome, Tagle is the name on everyone's mind.
When he talks to you, even if it's the first time that you met him, he really speaks to you personally.
Dubbed the Asian Francis and hailing from a country where around 80% of the population identifies as Catholic, his supporters describe him as down to earth. An image helped along by viral videos like this one, Cardinal Tagle performing a rendition of John Lennon's Imagine.
I'm chronically online, so I also see on TikTok that many young people that would want him to become the next pope. In the TikTok comment sections, they call him the Philly Pope.
Outward campaigning for cardinals is strongly discouraged, but social media is unstoppable.
Are you guys watching the NFL draft?
No, we're watching the Pope draft.
I think it's fair to say that this is the first TikTok conclave.
We got a brand new season of the Pope games coming out.
The amount of interest, probably thanks to the movie Conclave, that we've seen in this specific moment in time here is kind of remarkable.
Does any of that register with the men in red?
I will say that cardinals right now are on social media. They're not only praying and discerning, they're also scrolling. They're looking at how this is being represented, and they're thinking about how do we capture this moment, this attention for the church, and try and make it live beyond just this simple moment.
Safe to assume they've been scrolling, but heading into the Sistine Chapel means giving up their phones.
I talked to one cardinal the other day who said the thing he was dreading most was having to give up his iPad. So this is a reality that, most people can relate to, whether or not you're inside the Sistine Chapel or outside of it.
When can these cardinals reunite with their devices? Another mystery. All we on the outside can do is watch for the white smoke.
How long it takes for the smoke to come out is going to be very telling.
If the conclave would last longer, the impression would be of a divided church and of conflicts exploding within the Sistine Chapel.
The last two popes both emerged by the second day, but it's important to remember they were decided by a very different College of Cardinals, and Pope Francis's legacy will be looming large.
You can find a candidate who is really good on paper, but if he doesn't have charisma, can he stand up to the legacy of Pope Francis? These are the questions that the cardinals are asking themselves right now, and they're going to have to understand that they might be looking for a unicorn.
There's one thing we can bet on: the life of the man who enters wearing red and leaves wearing white will never be the same.